Alrighty, good morning everyone, welcome. Today I just thought I'd do a quick video so that if you ever need to go back and set up an Excel spreadsheet, especially for the upcoming assignment, you'd know how to do it both for investment accounts and for reducing balance lines. So just two different ways that you can manage your money. Alright, so we're going to start off with an investment account. Now in this particular case, we're starting with a principal of $2,000. It's getting 2.4% interest per year. And we're adding $150 every month. Okay, so this is just the setup. This is all the information we need. Alrighty, so let's actually have a go and work out how to start it. So because we're going to be doing monthly deposits, we actually want to be working in the monthly world. So let's put our months down the side, 0. Now to get my next month, I'm just going to click on my previous one and add 1. Remember the equal sign means do a calculation, and this is a really simple formula. It just means take the cell above and add 1. There you go. I can now drag that down or up and it'll generate me numbers, but for the minute I'm just going to leave it as that. The next column is going to be the principal column, which is quite a nice one because we're just going to chuck $2,000 straight in there. The next one is going to be my interest. Then we're going to have our deposits, which is $150. And then we have the balance, which is at the end of the time. Alrighty, so let's say that we've got a goal, right? We want to have a goal, which is to end up with, I don't know, $4,000. We want double the amount of money that we started with. We want to double our investment. Start with $2,000 and we want $4,000. Maybe we're looking at buying our first car, something like that, and we want to buy it all at once. Alrighty, so each and every month we're going to get some interest. Question is, we're not going interest based on 2.4%, and the reason for that is a per year interest rate. So in order to convert it from per year to per month, well, what do we need to do? Well, it's quite easy. All we have to do is we have to take it, we have to divide it by 12. Now, you'll notice it has automatically converted it as a percentage. Okay? So, I'm just going to go back. It is now a decimal, which is perfect for what we want. I wrote this using the percent symbol, so Excel knows that this is a percent. So when I divide it by 12, it's also dividing by 100 because it knows that it's a percent. Alrighty, so I've got my 0.002, which is my per month interest rate, and I've got my deposits. So now let's work out my interest. Well, my interest is going to be equal to whatever the current principal is times the interest rate. Now I'm going to be doing this every single year. So let's just go through, and you can see you get $4 of interest. Not a lot, but it's only been 1 month. So let's now add up all of this together. So it's going to be equal to the principal plus the deposit, the interest plus the deposit. I'm going to push enter right there. And the new principal is just equal to the old balance. Alrighty. Now, once again, the interest is going to be equal to the principal times the interest rate, the per monthly interest rate, because that's how much interest you get per that month. And so you get $4.31. So we get a little bit more interest this month than we did last month, because now there's more in the account. The deposit's just equal to the previous deposit, and the balance is going to be equal to this plus this plus this. Enter. If any of those formulas went by too quick, I'm going to show the formulas now, and if you'd like to pause the video and have a look through any of those formulas, they'll just all be sitting there for a second. Alrighty, so hopefully you've managed to get the first few ones to go. Now what we're looking for is a row of numbers which are all formulas. And you can tell they're formulas because they start with an equal sign instead of just like a number. So This one's a formula. This one's a formula. Formula, formula, and formula. So we've actually got a whole row full of formulas. Now we could absolutely just continue, dragging each of these columns down one at a time. But it's much easier to do it all at once. So step 1, click with a white cross, select the whole row, then go to the bottom right corner, find the black cross, and then start dragging down. Now, if you ever get this wonderful value symbol, which does come up a fair bit often, it usually means that your columns... Oh, no. In this case, it means there's an actual error going on. And the issue is it's actually this cell here. Because what's happening is when I drag this cell down, you'll notice that it gets a bit confused. And let's click on one of these cells to work out why. It should be saying the principal times the interest, but it's not showing that. Instead, it's going the principal times the balance? What's going on? So, this is a mistake in the formula for this cell right here, and for this one theoretically, but we'll do it as a fix for this one. We always want it to be this E2 cell, right? Because that's my interest rate per month. Every single column, every single value in this column is going to have that 0.002. So, to say to always use that one, we just put $signs here and here. And that locks this cell in place. And I'll show you what I mean. When I drag it down, you'll see even down here, it's still selecting this cell. It keeps changing which cell it's selecting over here, but it's always selecting this one, which is exactly what we wanted. So, now that I've got all my formulas worked out, formula, 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 select the row, black cross at the bottom right, and drag it down. So this is the other likely thing that you might see, which is a bunch of hashes. If you see a bunch of hashes, it just means that your column is too small. So make your column bigger. It's trying to display a number that can't be fit in the spot. Alrighty, so we had a goal of $4,000. So now let's try to work out how long it took. Well, at the end of the 12th month, we now have $4,000. So, at the end of 12 months, we have $4,026.20. So we even got $26 more than what we really needed. Alrighty. So that's just an investment account. And the wonderful thing about doing things with formulas is if I change the initial thing, so say I want, what if I started with $4,000 and I wanted, $15,000, okay? And what if instead of 2.4% I had 1.8%? And what if instead of 150 I had, $1,000 deposits? Alrighty. Well, how do I change all of that in here? Well, the principle's easy. Now I'm starting with $4,000 instead of $2,000. The deposits are now going to be $1,000. And the only other thing I need to change is the interest. But if you have a look, the interest has already been updated. This used to be 0.002 and now it's 0.0015. So it's already worked itself out by dividing the top number by 12. So this is the advantage of using formulas, that with these few cells, we can generate a whole different calculation. And if we scroll right down, we can then look for that 15,000. So if we wanted to have 15,000, well, we'd only have to wait 10 months. Alrighty. Let's have a look over at reducing balance loans. So this is the reverse. This is, we're going to start with $4,500 and we're slowly going to pay it back. $250 every single month. Problem though, the interest rate means that every single month, the loan is going to get a little bit bigger. It's going to gain some interest, and then we're going to pay off a little bit with a repayment. So, similarly to the last one, we're going to have the same setup as before. Months, principal, interest, but instead of deposit, we're going to have repayment because it's a loan, and we're still going to have balance on the end. Like before, we can set up our months column. So that will happily count up our months for us. Now our principal is just 4,500. It's just the starting amount, like before. You want it to look like a dollar, so you can either put a dollar sign first, or you can just click the dollars symbol. And if you're going to change the number of decimal places, you can just play with these arrows over here. So dollar sign to add it, and the arrows to change it left and right. Alrighty, so let's try to work out the, well, repayments are actually quite easy. Let's do the repayments for now. It's just $250. But the interest is a little bit interesting. Same thing that happened over here, right? We started with that per year, but we're doing things monthly, so we need to work out what it is per month. So that's just going to be equal to the interest rate divided by 12, because there are 12 months in a year. And now we've got our interest rate sitting right here. So when I'm going to calculate my interest, similarly to before, if I don't want to have that same issue happen, I'm going to go equals to the principal times the interest rate. But if you notice, once again, this has not been dollar signed, which means that every time I drag this formula down, I'm either going to have to type it every single time, or I need to put dollar signs to say, hey, stick this cell right here and always look back to this cell. This one we want it to change, but this one we want to always stay the same. So there's the formula for the interest. I've got a formula for the repayment. Now the balance is slightly different. In a repayment loan, we start with the principal, we add on the interest just like before, but instead of adding a deposit, we're actually taking off a repayment. So there's our repayment. So at the end of the first month, we started with a loan of $4,500, and now we're down to $4,270. Now, if you're wondering, shouldn't it just get $250 smaller, right? Shouldn't it just go to $4,250? Well, that's the $20 of interest that's happening. So it is getting a little bit bigger. Alrighty, so the new principal is equal to the old balance. The interest I can just drag down. The repayment I can just drag. Oh, be careful with this. We want to write it as a formula. So it's equal to the cell above it. And this formula we can drag down. And just check down the row. Formula, 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 formula. So I can select the whole row with the white cross. And then I can click on the black cross, click and drag down. And we can see at a certain point, I think it's around here, where we go from having, $2,000, then $1,000 left, then $206, and then eventually, after 18 months, we are down to negative $42.65. Alrighty, so that's just a quick introduction into how to do repayment, reducing balance loans, and investments accounts. Oh, just before I go, once again, these three cells, since everything's been done with formulas, we can switch what's going on in here and we can change the whole thing. So what if instead we only could pay $100 back each? Well, it's going to take us a little bit longer before we get to $0. In this case, we get a little bit under. Another thing to just notice is that you can see that the interest goes down each month, which is good for us because we'd rather pay less interest back. Alrighty, so quick introduction to investment accounts and to reducing balance loans. Alrighty, goodbye.